A scenario that I run into in a lot of discussions is the whole don't throw the baby out with the bathwater idea. I find it surprisingly easy to get Christians to confess to the fact that the church is riddled with problems, but then they hop right back and say, but that doesn't mean that God and Jesus are to blame, it's the people. There's a lot of truth to that. A lot of Christians say, to me, don't bring up Pat Robertson. He's not a real Christian, or he doesn't really represent most Christians. So stop bringing him up, because that has nothing to do with whether God exists or not. And that's a fair point. So I guess I would divide this up into two ways. There are two things I'm concerned about. One is how religion plays out into our world right now. And the Christians who are out there, the Christians that you know about because they're in your face all the time or on TV all the time, or they get quoted in the media, or they have these huge media empires, they have an effect on things like gay rights and abortion rights and the way we treat people and science curriculums and all that. So they have a serious impact on that. So I think it's fair to criticize Christian leaders if they're saying something that you know is wrong, because that's showing that Christianity as it's lived out today hurts us more than it helps us. So that's actually what I care about a lot more. And I try to focus my website and what I talk about on those issues. Then the other side of that is Christianity true? Is religion true? And to that end, all those arguments are very different. To talk about whether religion is true, whether a specific religion is true, now we're getting into the realm of philosophy and history, and that's a whole separate set of arguments to make. And again, atheists deal with that all the time. There are apologists and there are people who make their living rebutting all those arguments from the apologists. And that's also very interesting, maybe to an entirely different set of people. But I do think those are two separate categories. And so I think it's fair when someone says, don't attack, Mark Driscoll, because who cares what that pastor says? It has nothing to do with whether Christianity is right or wrong. That's a fair point. But again, we're talking about two different things. And if I'm making fun of a pastor, or more importantly, I'm criticizing a pastor for something he or she said, usually he, I'm attacking the way Christianity is played out in our world, because I do think it's a problem. And unfortunately, the liberal Christians, the more progressive Christians who want to use their faith to steer people in a different direction, unfortunately, they're not necessarily the ones with the megaphones or the power. And that's unfortunate. So again, to me, we're talking about two different things. There might be some overlap, but overall, I don't blame the Christians for being upset when atheists are talking about pastors. But again, I think we ought to be able to do that. And at the same time, we can go against their arguments for why God exists and criticize those as well. My name is Hemant Mehta. I write at friendlyatheist.com. Please leave your messages and questions below in the comments.